Hi everyone, I'm Uliana. In this video we are going to take a look at 10 beginner-friendly yoga poses for tight hips. If you have tight hips, you are not alone. It's a very common thing nowadays because we spend so much time sitting down, our hip muscles become relaxed and weak. Over time it can lead to tight hip muscles, to limited range of motion, even to hip and lower back pain. Practicing hip opening yoga poses regularly can help to prevent all this from happening, and it can also help to ease the pain if you are having some discomfort in your hips already. Let's get started. Let's begin with a modified fire log pose. In full expression of this pose, you have to stack your shins on top of each other, which as you see is pretty hard for someone with tight hips like me, so I really like this modification. Begin sitting on the floor with legs extended in front. Flex your feet by pulling your toes towards your body. Then bend one leg and place the ankle under your knee. Bend another leg and place another ankle under the other knee, so that when you look down, your shins are almost parallel and your legs are creating triangle shape. Remember to keep your feet flexed to protect your knees. With inhale, lengthen the spine. With exhale, bend forward until you feel the stretch in your hips. When you find the stretch, just relax there for a minute or longer. Then slowly come out of the pose, switch legs, and see if you feel a different kind of stretch on the other side, or maybe you feel the stretch only in one hip because the body is not very symmetrical. That's totally okay. Our second pose is a low lunge. We will begin it in downward facing dog. From here, step one foot forward between your hands. If the foot doesn't come all the way through, just help yourself with the hand so that you can tackle your knee over your ankle. Lower down the back knee. If you need some extra cushion, you can use a folded blanket or a towel to protect the knee. Make sure the hips are level, looking forward. Then press down through the front foot, engage your core, and raise up to lunge. Arms can be raised overhead, or you can keep them on your hips or on your thigh for balance. Try to sink deeper into the hips. But if you feel some discomfort in your front hip joint, maybe some pressure, then try to press down more through your front foot so that the leg activates more and you raise up more. Keep your core engaged, creating more space for the hip joint in the front leg. This should feel better. To come out of the pose, place your hands on the mat, untuck your back toes and come back to downward facing dog, and repeat same on the other side. Next one is the lizard pose. From down dog, step your foot forward, but this time closer to the edge of the mat so that both of your hands are on the inside of the foot. You can keep your back knee up or lower it down. If you already feel enough stretch, just keep your hands on the floor. If you want to deepen the stretch, you can release your forearms to the floor or use the block and place your forearms to the block. And another variation that I really like is to roll the front foot to the outer edge so that the knee opens to the side. It kind of gives you a different stretch. You can keep one hand on the floor and try to open your knee more with another hand, or come to your forearms here. If you want to make it more challenging, you can take your back knee off the floor. And after you're done, just gently come out of the pose, come back to downward facing dog and repeat on the other side. Next pose is Malasana, the yoga squat. I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not fitting into the frame when I was filming this. Begin standing with feet a little wider than the hips, toes turned out, and then sit deep into the squat. Bring the palms together in front of your chest. Try to open your knees wider with your elbows and keep the spine straight and long. If you find it difficult to sit so deep into the squat, just take a block or two, sit on the block and then do the same pose, trying to open the knees wider, keeping the spine long. And if your heels don't come down to the floor, you can try to roll your mat and place your heels on this rolled mat for more balance, or use some folded blanket or a towel to give you more balance in this pose. Next we have a bound ankle pose. Start seated on the floor with nice long spine. Bring the soles of your feet together and place your feet as close to your groin as it's comfortable. And then try to lower your knees down to the floor. You can also try to do this pose next to the wall. I really like this variation because when you sit close to the wall, you don't need to worry about keeping your spine straight, and then you can concentrate on bringing your knees down to the floor. You can also help yourself a little with your hands. Just be very gentle, don't push it down. Let your hips open and relax. Another way to deepen the stretch is to bend forward. Here you can also help yourself with the elbows and try to bring the knees down with your elbows. Next pose is reclined bound ankle pose. So you can start laying down on your back, then bring the soles of your feet together and let your knees lower down to the sides. You can place your hands whenever you want, where it is comfortable for you, and just relax in this pose for a couple of minutes. You can use this pose as a final relaxation pose instead of Shavasana at the end of your yoga practice. If you have blocks, you can place blocks under your knees so that your inner thighs can relax even more. Then we have a happy baby pose. For this pose, bring your knees closer to your chest and then grab your shins, your ankles or the outside of your feet. Press your feet down and try to bring the knees closer to the mat. If this pose feels too intensive, you can also try a half happy baby pose. And you can also use a strap here if it's hard for you to grab your foot. It's easier in a way because you need to work only on one leg at a time and another leg is just relaxed on the floor. Next we have reclined pigeon pose. Place your feet parallel, closer to your sit bones. Then raise one leg, flex that foot and place ankle over your knee. Push your knee away from you. Then grab the back of the thigh, the shin, or you can also use the strap here to bring the knee closer to your chest. This pose is also called figure 4 stretch because you are creating this kind of number 4 shape with your legs. I really like this figure 4 pose because you can do it in different variations. This one is the reclined figure 4 stretch, and next one we have seated figure 4 stretch. Begin by sitting on the floor with bent legs. Use your hands to keep your spine upright and place your feet further away from you at first. Then bend one leg, flex the foot, place the ankle over the other knee, and then try to bring the foot that is on the floor as close to you as you need to feel the stretch in the opposite hip. The smaller the distance between the leg and the torso, the more intense the stretch will be. So just stay here for some time. And I also like to do this variation with the wall, because next to the wall you don't need to worry about keeping your spine straight, and you can just use your hands to help yourself a little bit with the stretch. Try to pull the knee away from you, but be gentle again. Don't push it too much, just let your hips relax into the stretch. And the last pose is a seated spinal twist, which is good for your spine, but also is a good hip stretch for some people. Bend one leg and place the foot on the outside of the other leg. With the opposite hand, you can either hug your thigh or hook your elbow to your knee. With inhale, lengthen the spine. With exhale, twist, and with elbow, keep pushing the knee to the other side so that you feel some stretch in the outer hip. So we just took a look at 10 different yoga poses for tight hips. Try them out at home, see which one works better for you, and let me know in the comments what is your favorite hip opening yoga pose. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more yoga tips, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!